Hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. I'll try and keep an eye. Great, thanks, Jim. I'll keep an eye on the chat. Um, so my name is Claire. I'm a fourth year actuarial math student here in DCU. And I'm just going to talk a little bit about the actuarial and financial math courses here in DCU. Um, so there is other courses in the School of Mathematical Sciences. I just have the codes down here at the bottom, but I'm going to concentrate on the two at the top, the actuarial maths and the common entry into actuarial and financial maths. So I suppose one main difference between the two courses is that you can change in the common entry one. So the first 2 years are the same for both courses, and then depending if you want to go down the more actuarial route or the financial math route, you can decide then at the end of second year before you go into third year which one you would like to do. So I suppose if you wanted to do the actuarial course, but you weren't sure what the difference between taking the common entry course and then going down the actuarial route in third year, what the difference between the two are. I suppose the only difference really is the points. The first 2 years are identical for both courses. So if it's a matter of points, I definitely would encourage anybody who is thinking of the actuarial math course to put down both courses and then see what happens, I suppose. So I suppose the reason maybe to go into the common entry course is if you weren't too sure, maybe you might be sure of if you wanted to continue with the actuarial exams after college, or you just want to kind of a good math degree. So this would probably be the reason why you would probably choose the common entry, and then you can decide, like I said, at the start or the end of second year. So I'll just talk briefly about the different types of modules that you do in the course. So like I said, common entry and the actuarial maths courses both have a common first year. The main courses are in maths, computing and economics, with the majority of them obviously being in maths. So you'll be doing linear algebra, integral calculus, analysis, sequence and series. They're just a few of the courses or modules that you'll be doing in first year. And then computing. So you will learn how to computer program in R programming language and Python. And especially the R we use a lot when we're working after college or in other courses in higher years in second, third and fourth year. So it's really good, and it's a really good skill to have to learn how to computer program. And then economics, there is 2 modules in first year economics modules. So yeah, they're in first year, one in first semester, one in second semester. So that's kind of the overview of first year. And then in second year, I suppose you build on the modules that you've learned in first year, a continuation of linear algebra, some more analysis. There is actually probability in first year as well. You'll have a second probability course in second year. Stats starts to come in, and accounting. And I suppose you're probably wondering why there's economics and accounting. I suppose it's for the actuarial exemption modules. So I'll talk about the actuarial exemptions later on, but that's why there's a few business courses modules thrown in there as well. But for the main part, they are mainly math courses. And then third and fourth year. So this is where you would split into actuarial and financial maths. But there is still a lot of overlap. Say, for example, last semester, there was maybe 1 or 2 modules that were compulsory for the actuarial maths course, and the financial maths course had to take maybe a different one, or they could choose to do it as an option if they wanted to. So kind of those changes, but they are still quite closely linked. Um, so there's, I suppose, more of an emphasis on third and fourth year in kind of what you would do out in the real world. I found that anyway from my experience and from going on placement in third year, which I'll talk about in a minute as well. And the financial and actuarial models, actuarial modeling, life contingencies. It's all kind of like, figuring out probabilities of if someone lives to a certain age, what's the probability they'll live for another 10, 15, 20 years, which are all used in the calculations in companies to figure out life insurance or different types of insurance depending where you end up working. So yeah, and then obviously you have financial maths is a big part of it. Maybe for working in pensions, someone might want so much money, 100,000, by the time they retire, and like you work out a payment plan of how much they need to put in, I suppose, or save every month for whatever 20, 30, 40 years while they're working. So that's kind of a brief overview of the courses in third and fourth year. So in third year, you have a placement. It's called Intra. So first semester is in college. You have 5 modules, and then from January to August, September, whenever you go back and start in fourth year, you have your Intra placement. And it's coordinated by the Student Support and Development. At the moment, there's a lovely lady, Geraldine, that's looking after the actuarial courses. She's very good, really helpful. It's quite a similar setup to the CAO. All the jobs for different companies go up on a portal. You get to read the job description. You upload your CV to the portal, and then you can apply for the jobs. Then the applications are sent off to the companies, and then they decide who they want to interview. And then if they like what they see, and when they interview you, they'll offer you a job and you'll accept it on the portal. So quite similar setup to the CAO. And it's a really good program, especially if you're not entirely sure what type of insurance, if you wanted to go into general, into life, health, maybe you would want to work in a consulting company where there's maybe you'd be working on a bit of everything, or maybe you don't want to go down the actuarial route. Maybe you would rather stay in kind of a more financial role, and it's a really good way to see what you like and what you don't like. I've just put down some intra employers that my classmates and I worked in these companies this time last year. And so I did my placement in Optum, which is an American health insurance company. And I loved it. I really, really did. I did a summer internship in second year, between second and third year. And then they kept me on part-time for the first semester of third year. And then I went back to them for my placement. And I did an interview before Christmas, and I'm going back to them to start as an actuarial analyst in one of their grad roles in June. So I really found what I liked. It mightn't be for everybody, and I know there's a lot of people in my class, they are going back to the place where they did their intra, but there's some that aren't, and they're looking elsewhere, and it's a really good way to see what areas you would like to work in. But I suppose if you don't want to become an actuary, it's not the be all and end all. There is loads of career prospects from doing these 2 courses. You'll never be stuck for work. So I know some people in my class are thinking of going on and doing masters or PhDs. Some are looking at more data science roles as a data analyst in companies like Accenture. There's a few people going to work in the central bank. And I know currently the third years at the moment, there's a few people over in London doing their placement, and they're kind of more in financial trading and investment companies. So there is loads of career prospects. So you're not pigeonholed into an actuarial career and doing the professional exams afterwards if you change your mind. So yeah, I suppose just a little bit about the actuarial exemptions. So to qualify as an actuary, there's 13 exams. They're broken down into the four different categories. The core principles, core practicals, SB and SA. And in DCU, you can get exemptions from 6 of these exams. So then when you graduate, you'd only have to continue on and do the other 7. And so I suppose you do have to get a certain percentage in these modules. So for example, there's one of the exams is covered in 2 modules across third and fourth year. So there's a financial maths module in third year and life contingencies module in fourth year. And you would have to get 65% overall or 60% in that if you just wanted to get that individual exemption. But to get all the exemptions, you'd have to get over 65%. It sounds difficult, but it definitely is doable. I suppose those modules, you'll know going in straight away which modules are for what exemption. So, you can put more work into those and make sure that you do really, really well in them in order to get the exemptions if you're thinking of qualifying after college as an actuary. So yeah, just I suppose a few reasons why you should study actuarial or financial maths at DCU. If you like maths and you're good at it, it's definitely a big plus. I loved maths. I always loved maths in school, primary and secondary school, working with numbers just in part-time jobs or whatever. So it definitely was a very good fit for me. And just the college overall, DCU is very, very welcoming. The class sizes aren't that big. I think there's about 35 in my class at the moment. You get to know everybody. Lecturers and tutors are so helpful. They really do go above and beyond to help you out. And I suppose another thing that you do get in DCU, because it is, I suppose, a smaller college than some of the other colleges offering the actuarial maths degree, you do kind of get a bit of continuity. So there's linear maths courses in first and second year. There's probability courses running across first, second and third year, and you will kind of have the same lecture going through on all of those modules. So you kind of get used to the way they teach. You get to build a relationship with them. It's really nice instead of just seeing a lecture for 12 weeks, semester 1, and you never see them again, and that's it. So that's really, really good. And another great resource in DCU for actuarial or just math students in general is the Math Learning Centre. It's in the library, and it's a room where there's tutors on duty from about 10 to 5 Monday to Thursday, and a couple of hours in the morning on a Friday. And if you're unsure of anything, you can go ask them. It's a room where you can study as well. So I know, like, if you have any assignments, group projects, you can go sit with whoever's in your group, work it out. It's just a really good way to learn. And especially if you don't want to go and ask a lecture, and maybe somebody else will explain something in a different way that it'll just click with you. So it's a really, really good resource, and definitely would recommend using it. So yeah, there's some contact details here for the head of the actuarial math course, Ryan, and for the common entry course, Martin. So they'd be happy to answer any of your questions. If you'd like to follow up with an email. But yeah, thanks everybody.